And there are claims that America is sponsoring terror attacks in Iran. The allegations come from a militant group's leader who was captured in Iran on Tuesday. He says he met CIA agents in Pakistan who promised to supply arms to his organization. That's a claim that Washington denies. RT's Sean Thomas reports.
It's not the first time the Manas Air Base has hit the headlines, and all for the wrong reasons. The latest allegations from Iran claiming the facility is an American front to transport terrorists to undermine the Iranian government.
The Americans promised to give us aid. They said they'd cooperate with us and give me military equipment, arms and machine guns. They told me that in Kyrgyzstan they have a base called Manas near Bishkek, and that in a place like this, some high-ranking American person could come and we could reach an agreement on making personal contacts.
This statement comes in a televised confession on Iranian state TV. Officials claim when they captured the terrorist leader, he was carrying a fake Afghanistan passport.
The Americans said Iran was going its own way, and they said their problem at the present is Iran. Not Al-Qaeda, not the Taliban. Their main problem is Iran. One of the CIA officers said that it was too difficult for them to attack Iran militarily, but they plan to give aid and support to all anti-Iranian groups that have the capability to wage war and create difficulty for the Islamic State.
The confession has sparked criticism from those who let the United States set up shop in their backyard.
The U.S. is setting a precedent of double standards, which manifests itself in the backing of Sunni terrorists, which fight against the legitimate government of Iran to create a separatist state in the south of the country. It's sad that the U.S. airbase has now become a transit corridor for pro-American militants from Sunni insurgent groups which organize attacks in Iran.
And while the United States has employed such tactics in the past in Guatemala, Vietnam and Afghanistan, critics of this latest development say, if true, the U.S. is treading in some very dangerous waters.
What is extraordinary about this particular terrorist organization that has the backing of the United States is that they carry out some of the most brutal murders. They cut people's heads off on television. And it doesn't get any coverage on the BBC or CNN or in the New York Times, which is itself pretty extraordinary. But the murders that they've carried out have angered Iranians for the last few years.
The United States State Department strongly denies any involvement with Righi and released this statement to RT.
We view the arrest of Mr. Righi as a positive step to prevent potential attacks against innocent civilians. The US strongly condemns all forms of terrorism, including those that target Iran. Any allegations of US involvement are absurd. The US does not sponsor or support terrorism.
Also, the Obama administration has repeatedly said relations with Iran have to begin with renewed diplomacy, a sentiment which has critics growing increasingly more skeptical.
I think it's quite obvious that the United States is being very hypocritical. They were not only supporting this particular terrorist organization, but they were also supporting the MEK for many years. They've carried out many thousands of terrorist attacks in Iran over the last 3 decades.
But true or not, the allegations could strike a serious blow to any hopes of Iran restarting dialogue with the U.S. anytime soon. Sean Thomas, RT.